What do we need to tackle the most pressing issues of today? Problems like climate change, wealth inequalities, military conflicts, or global health crisis require not individual but collective political agency. In my research, I am asking whether contemporary artificial intelligence enables or rather limits such agency. My name is Filip Biały and I am a political theorist working on the conceptual implications of artificial intelligence in politics. What does it mean exactly? Well, it means that I am trying to use tools from the toolbox of political philosophy and intellectual history to understand how our central political concepts such as freedom, justice, equality and democracy change as a result of the widespread use of AI. Why do I think it is important to think about AI from that perspective? Contemporary discourse on the societal consequences of AI is dominated by the ethical perspective. I think it is not enough. AI has enormous political consequences that go beyond ethical considerations. While ethics is about doing the right thing, political theory is about power and how it is being used to govern and achieve certain goals. In the essence, it is about how we should act to maintain existence and development of human societies. These are enormous topics. Today I will focus on just one of the countless questions, just to show how political theory can enlighten our understanding of the implications of AI. The question is, what happens to our freedom in the context of AI? I have chosen the concept of freedom or liberty because it is frequently considered to be the central value, especially in Western democracies. But I have chosen to discuss freedom also because it is an underlying condition of our political agency that we need to resolve vital global issues. So how does AI influence our freedom? As soon as we begin our analysis, we will realize that there are many ways in which we could understand what freedom is. In fact, political theory tells us that there are at least three main competing accounts of the concept of freedom that we inherited from a long history of political thought. These three concepts are negative or liberal account, a positive liberty, and republican or neo-Roman liberty. The first one, negative or liberal freedom, is about our ability to act without any interference. It is called negative because we are free as long as there is nothing that would limit our actions. Using slightly different vocabulary, we can say that people have certain rights that cannot be violated if our freedom is to be preserved. Can we say that AI interferes with our negative liberty? Of course, we cannot speak about AI in the abstract. We need to trace the consequences of particular technological solutions. Having that in mind, we could observe that there are certain ways in which violation of our rights may amount to the interference with our freedom. One obvious example would be the right to privacy that is violated with the use of AI. And it is not just that digital tools allow to collect more and more data. It is that machine learning models and algorithms can process supposedly private data for political purposes. The fact that AI violates our privacy is political on at least two levels. First, the right to privacy secures our personal matters from outside interventions. Second, it is a right that protects personal thoughts and opinions from being publicized. With the use of machine learning, our political preferences may be reconstructed from seemingly unpolitical behavioral data. The right to privacy seems to be not just violated, it is rendered meaningless. And as we well know, shadow profiles that represent people's political preferences are used to influence our political decisions, not least by the use of micro-targeted advertising. It shows that infringement of our privacy amounts to the impairment of our political negative liberty. Second, we have a notion of positive freedom. It is about our ability to achieve certain goals or realize some ideal essence of what it means to be human. There could be, of course, multiple answers. What are our goals or what is that human essence? But if we look at the history of Western political philosophy, we will see that usually we are talking here about human beings as political animals. Since Aristotle, many philosophers maintain that we can fully develop only when we engage in politics. What is AI's role with respect to positive freedom? Does AI further or rather curtail people's engagement in politics? Here we could consider the notions of algocracy that describes a situation in which algorithms play more and more important role in ordering our individual and social life. In some extreme versions, algocracy or algorithmic governance could replace altogether human decision-making, because it is supposed to be more efficient and simply better at solving complex problems. Establishment of algocracy would mean that we are unable to exercise our positive freedom. But even if this will never happen, we are already subjected to algorithmic decision-making that is being used instead of human judgment. Think about the decisions about issuing visas or granting loans. Again, it means that positive freedom is being limited on part of the decision makers whose power is being limited, and for those whose lives are being decided by algorithms. Interestingly, it leads us to the third notion of freedom, the so-called Republican or Neo-Roman liberty. In this case, liberty is understood as non-dependence or non-domination. We are free as long as we are not subjected to someone else's arbitrary will. Even if there is no direct interference with our actions, simply because there is someone or something that decides about our fates, we are unfree. In this case, our freedom is again limited by the mere fact that our data is outside of our control. It is owned by technological companies that are not democratically controlled. Even if those companies will not actively use the data to impair our freedom of action, they still have something that an intellectual historian, Quentin Skinner, called a silent power. If such a silent power exists in our life, we may start to self-censor ourselves in terms of what we say or what we do, because there is always a risk that that power will arbitrarily decide to intervene. Hopefully, this brief discussion of the three concepts of freedom shows how valuable political theory could be when we talk about the impacts of artificial intelligence and how it could help us in seeing political and not only ethical consequences of AI. There is one important problem with freedom in general that AI only makes worse. Western liberalism focuses our attention on individual freedom. Various implementations of AI are focused on discovering individual preferences and using them to respond to individual needs and desires. It only furthers the problem of individualism that is dangerous to social cohesion. What's more, it leads to a situation in which we lack the ability to act collectively with other people. And we desperately need collective action to address the most vital global challenges. So let me offer one final thought that would connect the issue of AI and freedom with an even bigger question, that of our political agency. At the beginning, I said that the three accounts of the concept of freedom are considered to be competing. Historically speaking, they were indeed frequently presented as such. But we may also consider them to be three complementary aspects or conditions of human political agency. Political agency is an ability to change the social world around us. As such, it requires negative liberty to act without interference. But it also requires positive liberty, an ability to formulate our goals and to act with others in the public sphere to realize those goals. Finally, political agency requires liberty understood as non-dependence, not to be subjected to external arbitrary will that we cannot democratically influence. My worry is that we are heading in the direction of algocracy, a form of AI utopia in which our freedom is being limited and thus our political agency, our ability to change the world, is circumscribed. And that is why we urgently need to extend our discussion beyond AI ethics into politics of AI.